What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Coach and the Couch Potato. As always, I am Jeremy the Couch Potato. Opposite side of the screen, we got Coach Slate, and it is your opening drive for the 2 weeks to go before the season kicks off. Edition, I guess we would say, of the Coach and the Couch Potato. Before we jump into the good stuff, talking about some camp battles and a really nice hire this late in the game. Just wanted to remind you guys that in conjunction with hitting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, we're going to be giving away an Eddie George signed mini helmet with the Heisman inscription and the Fanatics hologram. Make sure you do like all the socials, comment on the YouTube videos, subscribe to the channel. All that stuff helps the algorithm, and with the season coming, gets us out there. What's good, sir?
Oh, dude, we're right in the thick of things, man. First scrimmage out of the way, preview scrimmage coming up. We're ready to go. School's about to start. Had my teacher work day today, so we're right back at it, man. So I'm uh I'm struggling. Need some sleep, that's for sure.
That that is crazy to think. All right, well, let's get into it. Um, you know, we've kind of assumed that the staff and the QC positions and the analyst positions are all taken care of, and then Ryan Day drops the boom on us and has hired Josh Boyer, who was the defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins from 2020 to 2022. But the tie to Ohio State, because with these types of hires, there's always a tie,
Yeah,
is Matt Patricia.
yeah.
Um, Boyer was with the Patriots from '06 to 18. Um, Coached corners, played corner at Muskingum. He's a Heath, Ohio native.
Okay.
And Patricia has gone as far as to call him his eyes in the box.
Yeah. These type of positions are vital. And it's a vital position for Matt Patricia if you're hiring him 2 weeks before the season starts. And so to get this guy in here, it's something that Coach Patricia feels like he needs, and Coach Day is like, listen, whatever you need to feel more comfortable, whatever you need to make sure that our defense is elite, we're going to make it happen. And so to get a defensive coordinator in here as an analyst that can be your eyes in the sky, I'm all for it, man. And so you get a guy with NFL coordinator experience, who's got Ohio ties. And you never know, man. After this season, some college coaches are going to be calling for our staff. This is a guy that could slide into one of those roles. You just never know. And so, making those ties to Coach Patricia, man, is huge, man. And so this is a big pickup right before the season starts. And Coach Day had some praise for him today, and obviously Coach Patricia said it's his right hand guy. So you can't ever fault a guy for wanting to get his boy in here for some reinforcements.
Yeah, absolutely. So you hit on it. Coach Day did talk to the media today. Camp grind full effect. Scrimmage number one was on Saturday, with the second one to follow this coming Saturday. Um, I think we'll also hear the Block O recipient this week, if I had to guess. And I also think we'll hear a quarterback this week. I just don't think you want to be going into game prep not knowing who the guy is publicly. I think the guys are starting to see the things. This guy got a few more reps. This guy didn't work in this situation. Uh, but in true politician, college football head coach form, Coach Day didn't give us anything today about him.
Yeah, yeah. It's out of respect, obviously, and
Right.
going. I think if we were playing a lesser opponent right away, I think you could carry this out through the first week. But since we're starting off with a bang right away, I think you really want to get this out of the way, so you can go in this week without any distractions. And so I do think this is going to be wrapped up by the end of the week. And so this is something that I really hope is taken care of. And I know Lincoln and Julian are battling, man. This is a true quarterback battle. Both quarterbacks are representing themselves well. Coach Day is going to be the politician. He's gonna out of the respect for both of the guys who have shown that they are truly Buckeyes He's going to do this the right way. And so
Oh
I
yeah.
appreciate that about Coach Day. It's one of the reasons why, you and I are big fans of him. He tries to do right by the kids, man. And so let the battle play out. But, you and I both think we know we got a good feeling who we think it's going to be, but let the battle play out and let the best man win.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, year number 2 of my Bowling Green dynasty on NCAA 26, Lincoln Keenholz is my quarterback, and I'm gonna win the Heisman with him.
Okay.
Uh, him and Tavian were both in the portal, and I couldn't even get Tavian to give me a shot. So, you know, Coach Eddie, I was his proxy, and we sucked. So, uh, obviously the pundits, guys that get to actually see practice, they have their thoughts too. They said that you're starting to see Julian build that rapport, but then Lincoln will make a throw. He'll make a play. I think it's going to come down to obviously if one of these guys has an exponentially better connection with Jeremiah, that's one thing. But the guy who can make it work with Carnell Tate and Brandon Ennis is going to have a leg up.
Yeah. It's a great point, man. That is a great point. I think, when you think of this receiving core, obviously you think of JJ. That's the first person that pops out, but their teams are going to try to take him away. We know that it's going to be a very tall task to take him away. So who is going to build that rapport though with the supporting cast? And that is such a great point that you just made. I think Carnell and Brandon Ennis are going to be such slept on number 2 and number 3 receivers that if you can build a great rapport with those guys, you're talking about 2 guys that could have well over 700 plus yards receiving. If you have a good rapport with them, you're spreading the ball around, you're doing your job as a quarterback, and so I think if you have a good rapport with them, you have a good rapport with Max Clare and Jelani and those guys as well. I think you're really the right guy for the job, and so that's a really good point that you just made.
Yeah, Max Clare, man, he is going to be a dog.
Yeah,
I just we this Max Clare is what Jeremy Ruckert was supposed to be.
yeah, for sure.
And I'm still a big Jeremy Ruckert fan. I think him and Fields in New York, could be good.
Yeah,
Uh, Before we get into the big thing that I took away from listening today, he also talked about how this team, and this is something we kind of hit on. You have guys who you would consider junkyard dogs, not just dogs, like guys who are going to not leave their teammate in the end zone surrounded by Michigan players. Um, they're going to be Dontre Wilson and Marcus Hall, and they're going to be up in the middle of it.
yeah,
He's like they have the fire, but they just don't have the experience. And to the surprise of nobody, one of the guys who is kind of stepping into that leader and calling people out on their BS is Jermaine Matthews.
yeah. That to me, that's to be expected.
Yes.
I had the fortunate opportunity to go down to a few Ohio State practices in a game with our guy Luke Montgomery when he was being recruited by Ohio State, and I got to meet Jermaine. And Luke knows I'm a DB guy, and so when I got to meet Jermaine, Jermaine was very open and upfront about he's going to be the best in the nation. Like I'm going to be the best cornerback in the country. Like no matter where I go. This was before he committed to Ohio State. He said, "Hey, just know that you're going to know who I am." Like he was like, hey, "It's nice to meet you, Coach. Just know that you're going to remember my name." And I was like, "Dang, all right, well, that's nice that he's got that, that moxie and that swagger." But like he was not afraid to boast and to be, braggadocious about who he is. He plays with that moxie,
Yes.
and you better believe he's going to back it up as well because when you talk that way, you got to make sure you can back it
Yes.
up. And so I love the fact that we've got the Jermaine Matthews, the IGB, and the Aaron Scotts of the world that are at the forefront of our cornerback room that are, laying the foundation for a guy like Devin Sanchez. Like, listen, this is the way that we do things. Yeah, we're gonna bark, but we're gonna back it up as well. So we're gonna be these junkyard dogs, and we're gonna grind, we're gonna hustle, and we got to make sure that we are BIA through and through. Like we're not just gonna be out here talking for no reason. We're gonna talk, and we're gonna make sure that our pads are and our play are backing up every word that we're saying. And so I love that about Jermaine, man, and I think he's going to have a huge year for us this year.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, if you think back to when he was a freshman All American, after the season, he basically said, "You better pay me."
Yeah.
And he stood on business,
Yep.
and here we are. But yes, I think that he is going to have a massive, massive year.
Yeah.
Um, I'm telling you, don't sleep on Devin Sanchez seeing plenty of playing time in
Yeah.
that cornerback group. Um, so the big thing to come out today, we have talked about the O line in nauseum, since the title game. And one thing, ever since the transfer portal closed, is we've kind of said, both of us, that Ethan Onion was going to start at left tackle. Well, Ryan Day told us to go screw ourselves today. He basically said that he didn't come out and say he's starting there, but he said Austin Saraveld is working at left tackle and left tackle only, which we've talked about Saraveld, and we've both said he's going to start. But we didn't have him starting at left tackle on the bingo card.
No. No, not at all. Now, he did get reps there in the spring. Ryan Day, like you said he was doing well there. But you see Ethan Onianwa, you look at his frame, you're like, that's a left tackle. But I mean, at Rice, he didn't play left tackle. He played right tackle. And so, maybe that's where he's most comfortable. And so maybe that's the way, that the offensive line coaches are looking at this. Maybe we want to put him where he's most comfortable. And maybe Sarabelt is saying, like, listen, like, I'm balling here. This is where I need to be. And so he's harped on it, position versatility,
Yep.
right? We were going to move guys around to where they fit our scheme the best. And so if this is where they fit, if this is how you mold and fit the puzzle pieces together, then make it work, man. I just want to make sure that the guys are in the right spot and the best way to serve the team because, I think this offensive line group is going to be much improved. And I think Ethan Onion was going to be a big part of that.
Yeah. Well, so then, you kind of hit on it. Ethan Onianwa, right tackle. In the words of the soon-to-be retired Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend.
Yeah.
Because Ryan Day comes out and says Philip Daniels and Ethan Onianwa are in a true battle for the right tackle spot. We didn't think Philip Daniels would be ready this quick. We thought he was a smidge of a developmental guy. But Caleb Downs even came out last week and talked about Philip Daniels being him.
That's awesome, man. It's one of the things that I was one of the things we just talked about with our guys today at practice. Competition, breeds success, right? It breeds champions. And so when you are in these true battles, you're only making each other better.
Yes.
And so it forces you to step up. You either rise to the occasion or you sink to the level of your training, right? And so if you're not really prepared for this moment, you're going to fall behind. And one of the things that one of our coaches said the other week was the coaches aren't calling you out, they're calling you up, right? And so they're trying to get you to rise up to the occasion. And we are trying to be back-to-back national champions. So what does that mean? We've got to rise up to the occasion. So Philip Daniels like, listen, I came to Ohio State for a reason. It wasn't to ride the bench.
Yep.
I got to work. And so listen, I love it. I love the fact that these guys are really stepping up, man. And so if it's Philip, it's Philip. I do think Ethan is going to end up being the guy, but go get the job, Philip. Go win it. Go compete,
Yeah.
man. It's only going to make you better.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things we always try to keep everybody in tabs on, just because it slips under the radar sometimes, black stripes. We've had 4 during fall camp so far. Not necessarily the order I would have thought.
Okay.
The first one I knew was going to be 1 or 2, and that's Riley Pettijohn.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's a stud. I don't even need to say much about him. He's just a baller.
Number 2 was not the guy I thought would be 1 or 2 with him, but Nate Roberts, which we knew Nate Roberts was a dude as much as Coach Key chased this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, we knew he was a dude, like you said, with the way Coach Key recruited him, but I did not expect him to lose his black stripe this early.
Number 3, part of our going to be Sonic and Knuckles tandem, CJ Donaldson. The buzz around that running back room is insane.
Yeah. It's hard not to be excited with the way Coach Locke just he is a monster.
He don't want no soft batch cookies. Uh, and number 4 is the guy I thought was going to be number 1, and that's Devin Sanchez.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I get it though. Maybe it's a hey, we're gonna make him earn it a little bit thing. Uh, I don't know, but this kid is every year at Ohio State since like Chase Young. You hear the stories of the NFL scouts going to the camps and practices and the stuff they're allowed to see, and they're like, "Who's that kid? Oh, he's only a freshman." Well, this year it's Devin Sanchez.
Yeah, he's special. He's special. You can't coach, you can't teach that size and
Yeah.
his athleticism. And we're fortunate to have multiple of those guys, and to couple him with IGB and Jermaine and Aaron Scott and the Jordan Woods of the world. Like we are just we got some dudes at that position.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got another scrimmage this week. Uh, I think we'll get some more out of that. There's normally a couple of former Buckeyes that do a really good job at throwing some nuggets out there. Because again, not a lot of people have access to that scrimmage. I know they had picture day, media day yesterday, I think.
Okay.
So the guys are also on the downward. Camp. I don't think camp is the grind it used to be, since they went to the weird check-in. Used to they checked in on Sunday. You knew camp started on Monday. You had the T-shirts and all the pictures from 11 Warriors of guys walking into the hotel. But this year we had 2 or 3 practices before check-in.
Yeah.
I don't understand the why, but I'm sure it's just the calendar maybe.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird too.
Uh, and then just a couple quick hitter things one's tied to OSU and one's tied to a guy Ohio State recruited. Shout out Travion Henderson. How do you start your NFL career? Oh, I just took a kickback 100 yards on the first play of the game.
Special.
Yeah.
Special.
Hey, Andrew Berry.
Yeah.
You messed up.
Yeah.
I mean, look, regardless of the whole Quinshawn debacle after football, I still thought Travion was what the Browns needed. And then it just, in true Browns fashion, it burns.
Yeah. You never know what you can't predict that happens with Quinshawn though. I get what they saw in Quinshawn and why they wanted him.
Oh, yeah.
And just sucks.
Speaking of the Browns, before we get our guy Jake on here at some point, they found a dude. Was it just the preseason? Yes. Was it enough? Like, you gotta, I don't understand how he's 4th on the depth chart for this week.
Yeah. Well,
But I digress. Wanted to not shout out, but give, hopes, prayers, speedy recovery to Trey McNutt.
yeah.
Came out today that he broke his leg. I don't know if we're looking at a season ender or if he'll be able to get back like halfway through.
Okay.
I haven't heard enough, because broken legs are weird.
Yeah, it's tough.
If it's just a bone, you're going to be back by like October.
Yeah.
But you've got ligaments, you've got cartilage, that type of stuff too. So, you never want to see a kid suffer that kind of injury, especially to start their career, because we've seen so many Buckeyes that have ran into the same thing, and then
Yep.
it's an issue from there on out.
Yeah.
That kind of ties up the camp type stuff. Anything you've heard out there this week that you wanted to address?
No, I mean the big thing, obviously with the quarterback battle and then the offensive line stuff, I thought that was kind of crazy that, the shakeup with the offensive
Yeah.
line. The one thing that I did want to talk about here at the end is, we're entering getting close to the first week of high school football. Seniors, don't take this last season for granted. You're never going to get this opportunity again. College football is fun, but the 1% go play at Ohio State Most of us are going to be done after your senior year. If you're lucky, you get to go play, but most of you aren't. So take
Yep.
advantage of every snap that you play your senior year of high school because there's nothing that compares to it, man.
And just to kind of give you guys some foreshadowing, so next week when we put the episode out, it will still be an opening drive type format, but it's going to be our Ohio State season preview, bold predictions, kind of wrapped into one, and then that will be the last week of one episode for a minute, because then the week of the game, our opening drive will be natty predictions. Heisman winners, that type of stuff. Obviously, we're going to discuss Ohio State naming a quarterback at some point in there because it's coming.
Yeah.
And then we'll hop in, do it before the battle, and we are 19 days away from 1 versus 2 or 3, depending on which poll you look at, and the number 1 team in the country is an underdog.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I don't know that I love it. And then as far as the extra stuff that we always do, pick'em group, we're gonna have that just for fun out there. And then don't forget, smash the all the buttons, like it, share it, comment. Got a coworker that likes Buckeye football, check these clowns out. We don't take ourselves too serious, and we don't want you guys to take us too serious. But I think that's all we've got for this week.
Yep.
We'll keep it short for you. That way you don't fall asleep when you're driving. And we will see you next week.